We are excited to welcome to the stage a company update from Bend-based Shasta Power LLC. In 2021, John Copyak co-founded Shasta Power, a utility-scale solar power developer here based in Bend, Oregon. Shasta Power's mission is to advance renewable energy by developing large-scale solar installations and supporting sustainable energy growth. Welcome, John.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, I'm one of the managing partners of Shasta Power, a utility-scale solar developer. What we do is we determine where solar farms should be built, and then we get the real estate, the interconnections, the energy contracts, the governance, all of these pieces together, and then we sell the sites to bigger companies that build them. And so an example would be, well, let's take an example. Just outside of town here, about 2 or 3 miles, you'll run into a 20 megawatt site. The average site that we're developing is 100 megawatts, and we have 4 going right now. So that, of course, equals 400 megawatts. And so we're in the midst of developing sites that would power Bend 2 times over. We're also considering or pushing to add agrivoltaics in the form of sheep to our farms, and also carbon sequestering underneath the ground of the farms. And of course, we also plan them with 1-to-1 batteries. So if we have a 100 megawatt electrical PV system, we'll also have a large battery. And also interconnections. And I want to talk about those specifically because that is an investing moment right now. But back to the economics a little bit. We typically spend about $1 million in at-risk money, and that goes to land options, environmental studies, engineering, legal, all those kinds of things. And then we spend about $3 million making an interconnection deposit with a utility. And then once we get all this groundwork done and place the deposit, get an interconnection, the energy contract, these things, we would sell that site that we would spend about $4 million on for about $10 million. And the way that goes is we usually get the money that we've put out at close, and then it takes a couple more years to get the remainder. But let me grab this thing again. Here's our org chart. So Shasta Power is the developer, and we have accredited investors so far in the Summit Power Fund. And the accredited investors have thus far invested $13.9 million, and many of them are from Bend. We have about 100 investors in total, and about 1/3 of them are in Bend. And we're currently seeking a little bit more money from accredited investors for interconnection funding. When we started this venture a few years ago, it would cost about $2 million for each interconnection deposit. Well, there's something called an overly aggressive interconnection deposit reservation that's been happening. Basically, it's a speculative reservation where somebody puts one in hopes they can get a project together later. Unfortunately, that's raised the prices of our interconnection deposits. And so we're looking to raise a little bit more money to place our last 2 project interconnection deposits. And so we're willing to pay investors a 20% return on those interconnection deposits today. Anyhow, so we have the Shasta Power developer, accredited investors, and our new accredited investor interconnection funders, all putting expertise and money into the Shasta Summit Power Fund. So this has 4 projects in it right now. The first 2 are fully funded, and we have buyers for those projects. And the second 2 need the interconnection funding so we can see them through another year and then sell them. This is a little bit into the weeds, but here are the economics of our projects. Our first project is in Oregon. It took a couple of years to develop, and we have a buyer for it, and it started cash flowing last quarter. And it's currently paying the fund investors 18% year over year. Of course, we haven't received all that money yet, but we do have a buyer, and they've started making payments, and it will continue on till 2028. We have a similar situation with the Summit Solar project. We've recently finished most of the development. We found a buyer, and we expect to be paid well this quarter. And that project is going to be paying our investors 144% year over year. The next two projects, they're a little bit premature to sell. We still need to place that interconnection deposit, but we are penciling 38% and 51% for those two projects that are coming up. All told, between 2022 and 2028, our investors are earning 27% year over year in our Summit Power Fund. Unfortunately, the fund has been closed. We closed it last year, but the interconnection deposit preferred return is now open, and we're currently paying investors 20% annually on that. And it's simple interest, so if you had $100,000 you want to invest, if it took 2 years to get the money back, we'd pay you back $140,000. This is the payment waterfall. It's a little bit unique, but we have the Blue Mountain project we've already found a buyer for, and that's been cash flowing. So that's already paying the Summit Power Fund investors. Same thing with the Summit Solar project. We expect to receive payments and disperse those this quarter. The Zenith Solar Farm and the High Point, we need the interconnection deposit money to see it through, and it will take about another year until we list that for sale. In any case, we're willing to pay investors 20% on that $3.2 million. And since we opened this a couple weeks ago, we've already funded that $600,000. So we just have about 2.5 to go. And then the excess money from those project sales will then go to the Summit Power Fund investors, and then finally the equity sharing. Just a little bit more into the weeds on the preferred return interconnection deposit. Typically our minimum is $50K. I would be willing to lower that a bit. I've been making exceptions here and there. We're penciling a 24 to 36 months hold. That's conservative. It may be as short as 18 months, but I don't know yet. The plan capitalization is $3.2 million, and we're of course paying 20% per year, calculated daily. And there's no management fee associated with this portion of the investment. On the waterfall, it would be paid the first thing once we sell either one of those big sites. So that's how the breakdown works. A little bit more about economics. I know it's a little bit steeped in numbers, but why are these interconnection deposits so valuable? We have about 1 million already posted at the High Point project, and we need about another 900K plus 900K, 2 more 900K deposits. At this moment, the project's worth about 3 million, but if we place those 2 deposits, get the interconnection, energy contract, finish the environmental and so on, it'll be worth about 14 million. And so we obviously want to see that through and hold on to the site as long as we can till we get to the build. And by the way, to build 400 megawatts, it's over $1 billion. So these are big projects. As you can see, it would power Bend twice. And we did sell a tiny one in Illinois. I won't get into it, but the rate of return was sky high, but it's almost too small to talk about. And then Zenith Solar, we have about 400K posted right now. We're looking to post 2 more 320K deposits. Once those are posted, the project value will rise from 1.5 to 5 million. And that's also going to take about another year to see through. So I've used the words accredited investor, at least I hope I have a lot. And that's the way the Summit Power Fund was designed, and that's what's needed in order to invest in this interconnection deposit class if you're interested. However, don't fret if you're not accredited. In April, we're going to be starting another fund, and this is going to be a Reg A+, and that will allow non-accredited investors who make 100K could be involved. And so it'll be the same thing. We'll have more PV projects, hopefully sheep on them, batteries, carbon sequestering, interconnection deposits. Oops. This looks cookie cutter, but it's anything but. Every project's different. Every utility is different, landowner is different, and so on. But we're very inspired to be developing 400 megawatts cash flowing already, and we plan to have a larger fund, the Shasta Power 2 fund, that will also be open to non-accredited investors come April. So right now we have the IDC investment paying 20%, long-term capital gains treatment to investors if they're interested, and then of course in a couple months we'll have the non-accredited allowable Shasta Power 2. But I have a couple more things. Let's just say that you're not interested in a fund, but you'd like to buy some real estate that's already built and cash flowing with a solar farm on it. I have some 10-acre parcels that you could buy and then just sit on and earn money every quarter. So those are available. The leases on those will probably be 20 to 35 years. I don't know, but it's at least 20 years. So if you're interested in that, you could also use your retirement plan or a 1031. So there's lots of choices there. One more offering is I also have a fund that only invests in real estate that's got solar farms on it. So if you want mail money, very consistent for a long time, good for retirement plans, we could talk about that too. So I have some shares of a fund that only invests in the real estate of solar farms. Do I have any questions?
This is so cool. How about a round of applause? I'm not going to pretend that it all got in, but some of it did get in. I'm very interested in what you're doing here. So let's talk about the sheep. I've heard sheep are much easier than goats. Have you actually started with the sheep, or this is just part of the long-term plan?
We've interviewed a lot of sheep herders and people doing this, and I've learned a lot. I've met the sheep, but they've not been my sheep yet. So that's coming. Same with
cool.
the carbon sequestering. It's coming.
It's so cool.
But we haven't actually implemented it yet. But it seems brilliant. The sheep like the shade. It works.
It is brilliant, and it will work. It's very exciting, and I love that you used the beautiful picture of crystals forming to sequester that carbon. I mean, way to get a whole other demographic interested in this. The crystal people are very loyal. Okay, questions? Yes, in the back.
Can you tell us a little bit about the appetite for purchasing these projects and maybe who some of the buyers are?
Yeah, that's a great question, Roger. So can you tell us a little bit about the appetite for people purchasing some of these, and like what kind of buyers are they?
Oh boy, there's a lot of buyers, huge buyers. I can't tell you specifically who our buyers are, but I can give you some names, like as far as like BP, some other bigger companies in the same business, like Scout Energy, First Solar. Many of them are household names, but there's at least 40 huge companies. Even Warren Buffett buys solar farms. So there's a lot of companies that buy them. And as you probably know, the demand for energy is rising. All the AI and data centers are sucking up a lot of juice, so there's plenty of demand right now.
Yeah, that's a whole other event. Yes.
What's the cap rate on the land?
What's the cap rate on the land? What are you offering?
For you?
For you today?
Let's talk about it. It depends what you think the terminal value of it is, and so I haven't figured that out. It's anybody's guess what a 10-acre property could be worth in 20 years. It starts out less than 100K for 10 acres, so that's something. But yeah, let's talk about it. And I totally forgot to put my contact info on here. So if you want to talk, I have cards, or you could reach me at Shasta Power.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends I'm going to send your way. Okay, any other questions? Yes.
Given this week, any indications of impacts, appetite?
Yeah, this is an interesting question.
I was
It's a big
expecting that question.
Let me just replay. Yeah, nobody was. Okay.
Oh, I was.
So, given this week.
This week, you mean the last couple of months?
Yeah, given this, like the shifting that is happening, is that impacting the appetites? Is that affecting your sellers? Is that changing this landscape for you?
It is, and we don't exactly know what the what the outcome is. The new president is fairly unpredictable. However, the way we're submitting energy contracts right now, it's kind of a menu. It's like if the tax credit is 50%, then we'll sell you energy for X, and if it's 40%, Y, and it goes down like that. And so the utilities are just as smart as we are, that they know how much we're going to be offering them based on the tax credit. It's math, and so the whole industry shifts. But it doesn't go away, it's just that the utilities have to pay more. So, and don't blame me for the Pacific Power raise, that's because of fires.
Shoot.
I know, that was your next question.
It really was, yeah. My gas fireplace. Okay, any other questions? Okay, this is so cool. I know that people want to connect with you, so please make your business cards available. And thank you so much, this is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Keep us posted.